Hello. Before we begin shiur, I am pleased to announce that I have now officially launched my fourth podcast. This one is called, let me show it to you. It's called Machshava Lab. This name was borrowed from the title of the series that I give at Lamdeha every Friday. But the idea behind it is that I'm trying to teach not only ideas but methodology and like basically how I'm trying to exemplify how to arrive at your own understanding of Torah and Judaism firsthand. That's what I've always tried to do with my students, and that's what I'm trying to do this year. And so a lab is a place where you do experiments and you test things out, and you have successes and failures. And that was the idea behind my Lamdeha Friday seminar, is taking up topics which really showcase my own explorations into certain areas that can develop hashkafa, or that show you how to develop your hashkafa. And what I've done with the podcast is I am uploading all of the Lamdeha seminars, Friday seminars, and also all of the Chumash Methodology shiurim that I do on Wednesdays. And then anything else that I feel is, broadly speaking, in the realm of hashkafa or methodology that doesn't fit into any of my other things. So, for example, I've got my Sunday shiurim here, like my Kiddush, the universe of Torah and a glass of wine. I have, other things like that. I have my, Rabag from my Chumash shiur on Gan Eden, on the allegorical approach to Gan Eden. So this will kind of be the most miscellaneous podcast. Again, mainly it's going to be my Friday Lamdeha shiurim, my YBT Sunday shiurim, and then my Chumash Methodology shiurim. But I also, might do other stuff. Like I might do, audio versions of my blog posts where I talked about methodology, stuff like that. So that's there. It's, you can find it wherever you find your podcast, and it's also available at let me just show you the website here. Hold on just 1 second. Where are we here? It is at, I guess I'm still sharing. I'll talk about it later. Okay, so we are continuing on in Avraham and Ramam essay on Drashos. We completed the 5 categories of Drashos last time. So just to review, we got category 1, Drashos that are just pshat and are readily understandable. Category 2, Drashos where the pshat is not the real meaning and the internal meaning, the hidden meaning is the real meaning, and the external meaning often goes against the internal meaning. Category 3 was, the categories where the meaning is in the pshat is exceedingly difficult. Category 4 is the poetic interpretations of psukim, and interpretations and quotations, because they're not really intending to like give the meaning of the psukim, but just attach ideas to the psukim, kind of like as a platform to express other ideas. And category 5 was exaggeration, which is weird. We thought it was weird that was its own category. Okay, so now he's going into the 4 categories of ma'asim, 4 categories of like anecdotes or events. Okay, and as we have in the past, we're going to use we're using the fancy schmancy nice good this Avraham and Ramam, but then I'm displaying the other one on the screen, and you can still buy this good one for on eBay. I think there's still copies available. Okay, so it's like this. Arba chelke hamasios, 4 categories of incidents or anecdotes, and then chapter 1 or section 1, I guess, is masios shiur b'mitzios, things that happen in actuality, which gives you a taste of what's to come.
What page are we
we are on page Samach Gimel, which is Perek Daled in this thing. I like that he split it into prakim. Okay, Ulgabe arba'asa chelke hamasios, regarding the 4 categories of anecdotes. The first category of them is masios shikaru b'mitzios, things that happen in actuality, kfi mashi hiskiru, according to what they mentioned. V'kabum avur hatoeles sheish l'kabel mimena, and they were established based on the benefit that one can receive from it. Okay, so I mean, you would think that that's like obvious, but what's the havamina? that like what would someone think in terms of they were established because of the benefit that can come from it? I think this is a common havamina.
It's just history.
Yeah, it's just history, right? I feel like that's the thing that people think, that like it's just telling over history, or it's just telling over events, or and like it's a very basic point, but the idea is like these were only recorded for the sake of like a certain beneficial idea, and he's going to elaborate on what those are. V'tolas hahi, this benefit tihi bin bedinim o b'midos o b'deos. Okay, anyone recognize those three categories? Yeah. From Rabag. Yeah, right. So this is the same thing as the Rabag. Rabag said that the Torah regimen has three components: halacha, midos, and ideas. And then the Rabag also said that the Talmud has the same three categories in its contents, and that's what Avraham and Ramam is saying here. And it's not just Avraham and Ramam; it's also his father. If you look at footnote 1. So the Rambam writes this about the incidents in the Torah in general, or the narratives, I guess. So any story or narrative that you find written in the Torah is for an essential benefit for Torah. Whether to verify an opinion, which is one of the foundations of Torah, or to correct a certain action, to the extent that there is so that there's no injustice between people. Yeah, so I guess he didn't say halacha, but I guess it's pasha if he's talking about the Torah itself, then obviously the Torah itself is going to have halacha, and this is just sipur, right? So this is now in ma'asim in the Talmud. Then you can have dinim, midos, and deos. And he says, sheyihu osan hamasios me'elu sherachok sheyaru hamat'imim lama shekadam lahem v'huzkor mipnei nedirusam. Okay, that one I didn't quite understand what this translation was. Or those actions are things that are rachok sheyaru, improbable that they would happen, hamat'imim lama shekadam lahem, in line with what came before them, v'huzkor mipnei nedirusam, and they are mentioned because of their I think Nidirusam is like their like anomalousness, right? Like the fact that they're rarity, So this one chelik is going to be divided into 4 chalakim. Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, the Maimon family loves division.
Yeah. It's a nice tree structure.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so what was I going to say? Oh, about the historical thing, right? Is that like, yeah, so the Chazal are not just going to give history, and if they are, like, you have to ask, like, is this teaching us halakha? Is this teaching us a meter? Is this teaching us an idea? And like, that's like just a fundamental like operational methodology thing. Yeah, Isaac?
I feel like it's tempting to think like, well, I mean, maybe they were just recording things that happened, but like, I think I think that's like a tempting thing to think. I could hear a person, thinking that, but I think then if you say that they're just recording something without a purpose, then you have to say why did they record a lot more things.
Yeah, that actually, the first time I heard that idea was in I think it's in the discussion section of TTL. I think it's the shiur Torah Umada number 1, and Rabbi Chait said that like, you like the whole point of the shiur was how I mean, obviously in our yeshiva then we're okay like learning secular stuff, but the thing I was talking about this year is he was warning against learning secular stuff. And one of the examples he gave is he said people feel like there are innocuous areas of secular studies, and one of the things people feel is innocuous is history, and because you're just studying what happened, and he said, well, what's history? A certain man crossed the street in Athens, so he's like, well, how come that's not written down? Because it's not significant. So you're introducing a value system into what you record and how you present it. And like the value systems are embedded in what you record as history. So in the Talmud, or in whatever the Godic literature, the value system is halachos, midos, and deos, and like, we don't just care about history per se, we're not like that Ibn Ezra first derech, where like, we're just trying to record like, all the historical details for their own sake. Yeah. Okay. So the first category of the first category is masio shi'uru sheyesh behen to'elas l'bedinim. So incidents that occurred that have a benefit in terms of halacha. Hamin harishon hu hamasa asher yesh lilma mimena to'elas b'dinim. The first category is an anecdote that we can learn from it, a benefit in laws. Kagon hamamar b'mishnah sukkah. Okay, so the plan for today, by the way, is, I guess, in the original Avraham ben Rambam, he doesn't always record the entire anecdote, and even when he does, his versions somewhat differ from the versions in the Girsa that we have. So I think what the best policy to do is I brought them up on Al Torah in the Hebrew or the Aramaic and the English, and I think what best thing to do would be like, oh, I didn't bring this one up. This is Sukkah. I guess I didn't need to. All right, fine. So we're not going to do this for this one because I think this one I can read. But for these other ones, I'm gonna read the version that we have in our Gemaras, and someone can spot me and tell me if there are any significant differences. I think that would just be a good thing to do. But this one we could just read.
Yeah. Like a two font thing what's going on here.
Yeah.
I assume it's him inserting things.
So the bold is just a quotation from another source. And then the smaller font is him inserting words like helper words. And then the small bold font is him filling in quoted portions that the Avraham ben Rambam didn't actually quote. And there might be more, but yeah. Okay. So Mishai Rosho Veruba Basuka Vishulchana Basocha Bias Beishame Posting Ubeis Hill Machshirin. So someone whose head and majority of his body is in the sukkah and his table is in the house. Sorry. Yeah. And his table's in the house. Beishame is posted that sukkah and Beis Hill is Machshir. Says it's good. Amru Beis Hillel Beis Shammai Ma'aseh Shahalchu Ziknei Beis Shammai V'Ziknei Beis Hillel Levaker Es Yochanan ben Hachuruni. So there was an incident where the elders of Beis Shammai and the elders of Beis Hillel went to visit Yochanan ben Hachuruni. So they found his head and his majority of his body in the sukkah and his shulchan in the house. Amr Lahem Beis Shammai Misham Raya. Beis Shammai said, "Oh, proof." Avhim Amrulo in Kain Hayisanohe Lo Kiyamta Mitzvah Sukkah Lolam. They also said, if this is how you were noheg, then you've never fulfilled the mitzvah sukkah in your life.
I think the Misham Raya is rhetorical. I think from there it's approved.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because
right. Well, I just forgot who said who. What? So Beis Shammai was posel.
Yeah, Beis Shammai was posel.
Right.
So Beis Shammai pulled over the story to Beis Shammai because it's a case where
proves again, disproves them.
Yeah. It says like that's a proof because the Zikni Beis Shammai said to him, "If this is how you do your sukkah, you would definitely have to." Yeah,
that reminds me of one of the things I most enjoyed in my yeshiva days is when my principal Rabbi Fox came to visit Far Rockaway, and this is when Rabbi Che used to give shiur on Shabbos every Shabbos, And when Rabbi Fox was in yeshiva, it was like in the olden days, so they related to Rabbi Che like high school Rabbi, and Rabbi Fox still relates to him that way. So like when you get people who come in from that era, it's like they're talking in a way that would seem disrespectful because they're just talking to him like high school Rabbi, So I remember Rabbi Che was giving a shiur, and he gave a svara, and Rabbi Fox like asked this very powerful question on it, and Rabbi Chait thought for a minute, and then Rabbi Chait said, "Well, it's just like this other case over here, and he brought up another case and showed how that's the same principle." And Rabbi Fox said, "Great, now there are two things I don't understand." So say like Araya is good, but like if your svara is what you hold as the actual thing, then Araya is just another problem,
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Just to clarify about this case, in the actual story, like Beis Hillel left out the conclusion of the story. That's what happened.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the story, the 16 Beis Shammai said to the guy,
"Oh, okay.
If this is how you've been doing your sukkah,
I see.
you would have."
All right. Okay, but this is getting into an issue that I think we brushed up on. I don't know if it was in this year or if it was in my Lomdaha session of like, how do you classify this type of statement in the Gemara? Is this agada or is this halacha? So it sounds like it's halacha, right? Because he's teaching halacha.
Well, you think it's a gada that has a halachic,
Well, he doesn't call it a gada though.
or
It's a masa, right? So like the way the working definition we've had of agada and halacha is based on Shmuel Nagid, which is that anything that is not teaching you a halacha is an agada, you know? But the problem is like, there are incidents in the Gemara where you can learn halachos out from them, or other people can say that that's just teaching you midos, you know? So like, this is clearly a halachic thing, but as we read through this category, like, I think we have to be aware of like, how do you know when something is halacha and when it's agada? And there are cases where like some, you know, the Gemara will bring something down, some poskim will bring it down la halacha, and some of them will bring it down as midas chasidus, or just won't bring it down at all. So like, how do you know? You know, and my working assumption at this point is like, it's just an intuition from learning lots of stuff, or for us, it's just looking to the poskim. But like, how do they know? It's just their intuition about like, you know, how to learn these things. I don't know if there's like, I don't think there's a clear, like there are things that are ambiguous, you know? Okay, v'od dugma kagon divreim b'gemara ksuvos. So another example is in the Gemara ksuvos. Okay, so this one I brought up here because I had not learned this one before. So I'm gonna read this and you tell me if there's anything radically different. I don't care about like little differences. Okay, let me just look it up here.
Wait, don't you have to introduce a value system to tell whether it's radical or not?
Oh, yes. I'm sanctioning his value system preemptively. Ime, does it start with Ime? Yeah, Ime. And I'm just reading from the Alator translation here because again I've not done these before. Imi de Rami bar Chama. So the Gemara relates to the mother of Rami bar Chama. Kasvinhu lenichsa l'Rami bar Chama b'tzafra. So she wrote a deed in the morning transferring ownership of her property to Rami bar Chama. L'urta at night or that evening, Kasvinhu, she wrote another deed transferring Lamar Ukva bar Chama, transferring her property to another of her sons, Mar Ukva bar Chama. All right, so she's got two contradictory deeds. Asa Rami bar Chama l'kamei de Rav Sheshes. Rami bar Chama, that was the first guy, came before Rav Sheshes. Ukme benichsa, and he established his right to the property. Mar Ukva l'kamei de Rav Nachman, ukme benichsa. So then Mar Ukva went before Rav Nachman, and he established his right to the property. Okay, this is getting much more complicated. Asa Rav Sheshes l'kamei de Rav Nachman. Rav Sheshes went before Rav Nachman, Amrle, and said to him, "My taima avad marhachi. Why did you do this?" Amrle, my taima avad marhachi. Why did you do this? Oh, a comedy of errors. Amrle,
we don't have that.
oh, you don't have the what?
The response of why'd you do it?
Oh, okay, fine. Stands to reason that he probably responded to that, right? Amrle, so this on Alatar says, Rav Sheshes said to him, Dekadim, because Rami bar Chama's deed preceded that of Mar Ukva. That makes sense, right? She wrote the contract first, so that's like the one that was binding. Amar Le, Rav Nachman said to Rav Sheshes, Atu b'Yerushalayim yasvinan dekasvinhu shaos. Is this to say that we are sitting in Jerusalem, that we write the hours on our legal documents? And then in brackets, the halacha is that in any place where the hours are not recorded on legal documents, it does not matter when during the day a document was written, okay?
Wasn't 2 different days though? One was morning, one was night.
That's interesting. I mean,
This morning,
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
urta, evening. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
So
Yeah.
what does Yerushalayim have to do with that?
I guess in Yerushalayim they count. They're no to count the hours and to include them in documents. Yeah. Okay. My time avad hachi. So why? What's the reason that? So Rav Sheshes asked Rav Nachman, was the reason that the master did this? I mean, why did you rule that the way you did, given this fact? Amarle shuda daini. It was the discretion of the judges, i.e., this is Al Torah. I ruled this way since it seemed to me that this is the way the mother wanted it. Okay, I'm not familiar with the halachas of contracts here, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Does it go on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One more. Amar le Rav Shisha said to Rav Nachman, Ananami shuda dedai. I also applied the principle of the discretion of judges, and I ruled as I did. Amar le Rav Nachman said to him, Chada da ana daina. One response to your point is that I am a judge. Ana daina, I'm a judge. Umar lav daina, and the master is not a judge, meaning you are not a judge officially. Of Od, furthermore, mi'ikara lav b'toras hachi asis law. Furthermore, at the outset, you did not arrive at your conclusion for this reason, but due to your own theory with regards to the dating of the documents, which proved to be incorrect. So you can't don't pull a shuddha dedina on me. Okay. Is that the end of it?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay. But project should be say I guess we're not getting anything wrong. I guess it's clear. It should be clear that this is recording a halachic dispute, and you can see how each of them ruled. And if we were learning Gemara B'iyun, we would try to understand what their machlokas was or what their various reasonings were. Yeah. See, it's funny because I don't even in my mind in learning Gemara, I don't section this off as ma'aseh.
Yeah.
This is just part of the halachic discourse, even though it started off with the case, It's interesting this is even in this category.
Yeah, well, I guess in terms of categorizing types of statements,
Yeah.
this is structurally the same type of statement as other statements about actions. The fact that it's clearly functioning halachically is doesn't make it a statement that is it's not like they're saying this is the halacha and the other person saying
Right.
this is the halacha.
Right. It's just this is a recorded dispute about a halachic matter between two of the chachamim, and
Yeah, and it's clearly showing it, but it's not them talking about it.
Yeah.
It's just, saying it.
See, and this is the type of thing I have no idea so what legal standing does this have? What do we do with this in terms of psak?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm guessing that this is not this categorization of this being a maaseh is not a halachic categorization. It's a conceptual categorization.
Right, but that doesn't answer the question though, right? That I was just asking. Meaning, in halacha, we assume we take these things into account.
Yeah.
So the question is what standing do they have compared to, let's say, when the Gemara paskins, or when we have a rule about who we paskin like.
I think it's the same standing as when someone says something.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Next category.
I think why would it be different than any other raya?
Because I guess because I could see it being different in the fact that it was I don't know.
When there's a dispute about a particular thing, and they say, oh well, we went in front of this guy, and then I hear that. No like this.
Yeah.
The Gemara takes that as
I hear that. I just why do they present it this way then? Why don't they just incorporate this into the discourse? If this was presumably this was brought up in the base midrash also. So why don't they just say Amar Rav So b'shem Rav Sheshes, and
it is I imagine it's because it's more memorable. And
maybe.
And the Gemara was memorized.
Yeah.
We did a story earlier this year, and I think Rizmer said that a story as a medium is better for conveying certain nuances. It's not like that. Do you know that, Joe?
It makes total sense, though. That definitely is. That definitely rings true. Yeah, and that's I saw. Okay, this is. I haven't read this yet, so I can't even testify to it. But I forgot his first name. The Rav Henkin who just died, who was apparently different from his father. I thought. I honestly. I thought. I did not know when Rav Henkin lived. And so I guess there's two Rav Henkins who were both prominent poskim. So I don't know, but there's someone who's been posting a lot of stories about him, and he was one of the anecdotes had to do with his view of psak, and he firmly held that the Aruch Shulchan was more authoritative than the Mishnah Berurah, and kind of held that the Mishnah Berurah gained undue sway in certain Ashkenazi communities, and then that transferred over. And one of the reasons why he held that the Aruch Shulchan was more more should be the basis of halacha is because he was actually a posek who paskin for the community, and like all of this psak took into account all of the nuances, whereas opposed to like say like the Mishnah Brura was a theoretician and an academic, a halakhic academic, and like was paskin based on just the shitos, and like he was saying that psak has to be involved, shoot to deny. I mean, he didn't use that phrase, but like taking into account all the particulars, and that was how like it's anyone who's learned the Aruch HaShulchan, which by the way, if you want to do the Aruch HaShulchan, we're starting a new section. We started a new section today. Okay, we just got done with like all the shul stuff, so it's a good time to jump in. But it's clear from the Aruch HaShulchan that he does take into account like all of the particulars in the minhag and all that and everything like that. Okay,
obviously this is a total tangent, but Shuta Dayan seems like not a halachic principle from what it's being described here. It sounds like they
I know nothing about that principle. I've heard the phrase before, and this is like the second time in my life I've seen it. I don't know anything about it. Wait until what will it be? Maybe like 4 years when Encyclopedia Talmudis gets to Shin, and then look it up. I think they're in like Nun or Ayin now or something like that. Yeah. What was it?
I said, what do you mean?
Encyclopedia Talmudis has been coming out with volumes like every year, but and so I think they're up to Nun or Ayin or something like that, but I don't think they're to Shin yet. So like just wait till they get there and then look it up, and then you'll get the sugya. Okay.
What crazy work.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. Yeah. Do you guys use it?
No.
Oh, you got to use it. I mean, it's Wikipedia, but for halacha, and they just bring that every shita and just organize everything.
So good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like learning a sugya, like so much more accessible.
Yeah. We have. How far do ours go?
Ours go
Lamed? Okay. We gotta get a few more volumes. Yeah. I mean, it's on Bar Ilan. That's how I get it.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Second category of the first category, second subcategory. Okay, so stories that have a benefit in midos. All right, now I'm confused because he said that it's going to be dinim, midos, and deos. So how are there 4? I guess we'll have to find out. Oh no, you're looking ahead. Okay. Okay, the second category is Minasheni whom Meiser Sheyesh Asher Yesh Lilmon Mimena to Elis B'Midos, Kamamar Mazal B'Gemara Shabbos. So this is something you learn from Midos, like we were on Shabbos. This is a famous one. Okay, so I'm gonna read from the Al-Hatzor version. Tan Rabbana L'Olam Yehei Adam Anvasan Kehilal V'Al Yehei Kaptan Kashamai. Oh, right. You should always be a humble. They say here patient, which I think fits better with the story. A patient person like Hillel, and not be impatient like Shammai. Adam, there was an incident with 2 men. Click. Shehimru zeh who this here says who wagered with each other. They made a bet. Amru, they said, Komi shielach yaknit es Hillel. Anyone who goes and like annoys Hillel, yitol arba me'ozuz, gets $400. Right? You heard this one before?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Amar echad mehem. So one of them said, Ani achni tenu. I'll do it. I'll annoy him. Also hayom, you gotta imagine the chutzpah, in this, like I assume Hillel was famous at this point already. Also hayom, Erev Shabbos haya. Okay, so it was Erev Shabbos. The Hillel chafaf es rosha. Hillel was washing his hair. Okay, he was taking a shower. Halach avar al Pesach beso. So this guy went to Hillel's door. Amar, and he said, Mikan Hillel. Who here is Hillel? Mikan Hillel, who's Hillel? Nisatef v'yatzik karaso. So Hillel like wraps his towel around his head or whatever, comes out. Amrlo, and he says, Bini, ma'ata mavakish. My son, what would you like? Amrlo, he said, She'ela yesh li lishol. I got a question. Amrlo, he said to him, Sha'al b'ni, Sha'al, ask my son, ask. Why are the heads of the Babylonians oval? Best question ever, right? And the footnote here, or the text here says he was alluding to and attempting to insult Hillel, who was Babylonian, and he was washing his oval head, no less.
What was the motion in yours?
Segalgalos.
Ours says Enu Megulgal.
Nafkamina, it could have been square. Yeah.
The footnote says, the footnote, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Amar lo, but that's weird though, right? Because I mean, skull shape doesn't like change after such. I mean, this is not like a tremendous. It's not like tens of thousands of years like of evolutionary history of like intermingling with Bavel, you know.
It could have been like a stereotype or something.
Yeah, probably. Amar lo. So he said, "Bini she'ela gdola sh'alta." You ask a great question. Mipnei she'ein lahem chayos pikachos, because they don't have clever midwives, right? So that was the thing, right? Is that the midwives pulling the baby out would sometimes end up misshaping the head. Your eyes are wide. I mean, that even in America that happened with the clamps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had it was a bizarre. I mean, this happened up through like the 40s or 50s or 60s, like clamping and like pulling and stuff, and like the baby's heads would be misshapen because the baby's skulls are very soft. Not nice. Don't do it. All right. Okay. Halach v'himtin. This is a long and nice story.
It's a reasonable answer though.
Yeah, he answered his question. Yeah. Halach v'himtin sha'achas. So the man went and waited for 1 hour, and it's on Erev Shabbos. Chazal Amar. He went back and said, Mikan Hillel. Okay, maybe it's gonna be a different Hillel this time. I guess I don't think he wrapped his head. Yeah, I mean it's got to be just like wrapping his head for like Kisui Rosh purposes, right? I mean I don't think he's washing his hair that long. Amar lo. B'ni ma'ata mavak. My son, what do you want? Amar lo, he said, She'ela yeshli she'ela she'ela. I got a question. Amar lo she'al b'ni she'al. Ask my son, ask. B'nei ma einehen shel Tarmodian terutos. Why are the eyes of the residents of Tadmor bleary? I don't even know. We'll see from the answer maybe. Amar lo, Hillel said to him, B'ni she'ela gdola she'alta. You ask a good question. Mipnei shedarin bein hacholos. Because they lived among the sands. And it says the sand gets into their eyes. In case they're always like squinting. Yeah. Okay, interesting. This is, by the way, a side point here. This is an interesting methodology question as a teacher. So one of the things I admired about Rabbi Moskowitz is he would answer all questions in the same way. And he would, to my memory, he would never like compliment the question. And at first, it kind of struck me as like you know, a lot of other teachers say, "Oh, that was a good question," and he would never compliment it. And then I started realizing that like there is a certain more natural benefit that like the kid just sees that the kid sees it was a good question from the fact that they get into a discussion and stuff like that. And so like it's not giving that like lo lishma like incentive and praise by saying like, oh, there's a good question. But I, on the other hand, like I always just say it's a good question when I think it's a good question. I can't help it, you know. And Hillel saying that this is a good question, even though these are not really good questions, you know. Or I don't know if he thought it was a good question, but these are not like deep questions, you know. These are not like important questions, but it's an interesting thing.
I thought you were going to say that he wouldn't say it was a good question. So that when someone asked like a bad question,
oh, that's interesting.
And then he didn't say that, it wouldn't be like, oh,
that could be that's a reasonable interpretation of the behavior in isolation. I just from my knowledge of him, it didn't seem like that was the case.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Is that what you're gonna say?
No, I was gonna raise that point also.
Okay, yeah. Go.
Did you actually think it's a good question?
I don't think so.
It seems like a really bad question.
I know, yeah.
These are specifically intended to annoy him.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not like bad questions.
No, it's just like not a question that you ask your Rebbe on Erev Shabbos, you know, and not just your Rebbe, like, you know, like going to Hillel's house, you know. Right. But yeah. Halach v'himtin sha'achas chazer v'amar. So he waited another hour. Okay, so then he said to him, yeah, Mikan Hill, Nisata v'yatzah likraso, Amrlo b'ni ma'atab mavakish, Amrlo she'el g'dol yishli l'shol, Amrlo she'al b'ni she'al, B'nei ma ragleim shel Afrikim rechavos. Why are the feet of Africans wide? Amrlo b'ni she'el g'dol shalta mipnei shedarin bein bit'ei hamayim, because they live in the marshlands. And then it says, and their feet widened to enable them to walk through the swampy areas. The old webbed foot theory. All right. Amrlo. Okay, so I think we get to the punchline now. Amrlo. So the man said to him, She'elos harbe yeshli lishol. I have a lot of questions. Umisyare ani shematechos, but I'm afraid you're going to get angry. And now he is. Nisatef
Yeah, we have a different thing.
Yeah? What do you have? What are yours
I mean,
saying?
some of them were like different, but like it was just like a different syntax.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think that's going on.
Yeah, it's going on the footnote.
Uh-huh.
Footnote, yeah.
Uh-huh. So
and
he
then
omitted.
quotes what you said.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nis'atef yashal lefanav. He wrapped his head and sat in front of him. Okay, I guess there was more time that passed, or he just did a double wrap. Amrlo, kosh el sheish lishol l'shal. Any questions you have to ask. Wow. Okay. That is admirable, right? Amrlo atahu hilo shekon osaka nasi Yisrael. Are you the Hillel that they call the Nasi of Israel? Amrlo hein. And he said yes. Amrlo im atahu. If you are he, lo yirbu kamoscha b'Yisrael. May there not be more of you in Israel. Okay. Amrlo, he said, B'ni, mivnei ma, my son, why not? Amrlo, he said, ibadti al yadcha arba me'al zuz, because I lost $400 because of you. Oh, that's a great story. Okay. Amrlo, heve zahir beruchacha, be careful with your spirit. Kedai, and then the Altar says, and avoid situations of this sort. Kedai hu hillel, sheta'abit al yada arba me'al zuz, v'arba me'al zuz. The Hillel Yakbid. Hillel is worthy of having you lose 400 Jews and another 400 Jews, and Hillel will not get upset.
Who said this?
Sounds like Hillel is talking in the third person. Yeah. So, okay, yeah. So this definitely, teaches you the mita of patience, right? It's almost like a type of patience that you would say that he shouldn't have, right?
Yeah.
Like, why did he put up with this guy? Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes when you see someone's trying to be late stick,
Yeah.
and the person just treats them really seriously, acting like they're not even being a clown.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of kills the
diffuses
energy
it.
of
Yeah.
that guy. And he's just he was he wanted a reaction and he just didn't get one. And
right. Yeah. So I guess the question is is that the quality that it's highlighting? Because it called it
probably not.
Yeah. I agree that the phenomenon is right, but it sounds like this was genuinely he he was so not egotistical that it didn't occur to him to say how dare this guy waste my time. And he was like, okay, this guy has a question, and it's Erev Shabbos, but this question is pressing to the point where he came to me and asked me, and I'm gonna answer it. It's interesting.
Joe, never heard that term before.
Me neither. It was a good term.
Late stick.
Yeah. It's like the type of surgery you get on your eyes to make you see better. Yeah.
Well, I thought the term lates.
Yeah, I did assume that's what it's from. Lates. Yeah. Right.
I kind of have a question on the story.
Yeah.
So,
me too.
Yeah. Especially given something that you've talked about on the Stoic Jew podcast advertisement here. You can edit that in later. If a person doesn't have all the time in the world, let's say he had another 30 questions and Hill wasn't going to be able to get ready for Shabbos.
Right.
It seems like he should have said I'd be happy to answer them after Shabbos or something like that.
Right.
This seems not he's this is a bad quality. He's
so that's, I guess we need to go into the particulars of the story of why was he so patient given the fact there was Erev Shabbos, and would it have been different if the circumstances were different? And I assume that there's an art to learning these stories, knowing what you can assume and knowing what you can what details you have to fill in, and this is just story number one in this genre. He doesn't quote the rest of them, but it goes into the contrasting it with Hillel and Shammai and how Shammai is impatient. That's the whole genre. Someone gave a shiur on this. I thought I saw it in YBT Shiurim. Does that ring a bell? So recently.
Oh yeah, I think Rabbi Ari Ginsburg gave it.
Yeah. Let me just see when it was.
He has a little thing on this.
Yeah.
No, the
What was that?
Everyone has a thing on this.
Oh, he does? Oh, okay. So we'll see in a second. Yeah, this was in, what day was this? Actually, I don't even know do we record a shiurim? I don't know. December 22nd. So yeah, the patience of Hillel. Yeah. All right. Makes me want. I had wanted to listen to the shiur, but
Yeah, and I guess
now even more.
Yeah, if there's a recording that you can get and post.
Yeah, I mean, I'll check on YBCR and see if it's there. Okay. Avraham and Ram has a thing in the text or in the footnote. What was it?
That's him, isn't it? Right after?
Yeah. Mimasis lemedim. That's the part you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back to the document here. Mimasis lemedim mida musaris rabas erech. From this incident, we learn an ethical trait of tremendous worth. He lihidamus lahilal alav shalom ba'arichas hapayim v'hahimanus me'akas. Interesting. So, what do we learn from Hillel from here? So, not anvanasusa, right? Not, or at least whatever that quality is, unless that's synonymous with this. But erech hapayim, slowness to anger, and refraining from anger. Vafilu al dvarim hamachisim ma'od, even on things that are very provocative. Like the incident that they told. And there are many categories like this in Talmud. So maybe the answer is Isaac's question is like, if this was causing him to be like mezalzel b'kavod Shabbos or whatever, that would not be a good midah, But we're learning, what this is illustrating is how this guy was deliberately trying to provoke him and he wasn't getting angry, and he was delaying anger. That is a good quality. And I feel like you could learn that quality regardless of like the fact that we don't know the details of like his Erev Shabbos schedule,
Like it sounds like what if the potential for anger was not in like in that it was causing consequences. It's not like he was hurting Hill in any real way.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, the story was not that he's damaging Hillel and then Hill was just like oh, I'm fine. I mean, like it could be that it applies there, but that's not what the story the story was.
Yeah.
It's that he's saying things that are, let's say, like it's maybe insulting to Hillel or something, like the round head thing. Or oval head, really.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a round head.
Yeah.
But he was not being bothered by that. Or
Yeah.
Being angry.
It's interesting because this actually comes up in halacha also. That I mean, this is the story is not an incident of this halacha, but just while we're thinking about it, what halacha I'm thinking of?
No.
About the questions in the Rav.
What halacha am I thinking of?
Don't ask him a different place.
The what?
Don't ask him for like a topic he's not doing it.
No, that's not the one I was thinking of. This is because it's actually in terms of kaptan.
No kaptan malamed?
Yeah, but the Ram brings down though that kaptan. Yeah. So lo yihiu. This is in Hilchos Talmud Torah Daled Hey. Lo yihiu hatalmid bosh mechavero shalamdu mipam rishon oshnia. So a student shouldn't be ashamed because his friend learned it on the first or second time. V'hu lo lamad ela achar kama pamim, but he didn't learn it until after many times. She'im nisbarish midavar zeh, because if he's embarrassed because of this, nimtza nichnas v'yotze lebeis midrash v'hu eno lamed klum. So he's going to go in and out of the beis midrash and not learn anything. Lefikach amru chachamim harishonim ein lebaishan lomed. That's why the Chachamim Harishonim said that an embarrassed person will not learn. But an impatient person will not teach. And then he says, so when is this referring to? Bisman shelo hevino hatamidim hadavrim pnei omko, when the students could not understand the thing because of its depth, omi pnei shadaitan shehi katsara, because their minds are deficient. But if the Rav sees that, yeah, hold on. This is not what I wanted. The halacha I wanted is right before this. Okay, well, I'll finish this one, but the halacha I wanted was right before this. If the Rav sees that they're being lax in Divrei Torah or lazy, and that's why they didn't understand, he is obligated to rage at them and to shame them with words in order to sharpen them. I can tell you from experience that doesn't work. Okay, that's not a good strategy nowadays. Amru and Amru Chachamim, and the Chachamim says Zrog Mara B'Talmidim, instill bitterness into the Talmidim or fear. Okay, fine. But the one I wanted, okay, the halakha was before this. Harav shalimid v'lo hivino talmidim. The Rav who taught and the students didn't understand. Lo yichos aleim v'yirgas. He should not get angry and rage at them. Ela chozer v'shon hadavar afilu kama pa'amim. He should go back and teach the matter even many times. Ad shi'avinu omek ha'halacha, until they understand the depth of the halacha. V'chein lo yomar hatalmid hevanti. So too, the Talmud should not say, I understood, v'hu lo hevin, when he didn't understand. Ela chozer v'shon afilu kama pa'amim. He has to go and ask many times. V'im kas alav ravo, and if his Rav gets angry at him, v'ragas, and he rages, yomer lo, and he should say, the Talmud should say, Rebbe, my master, Torahi, this is Torah, v'lilmod anitzarach, and I need to learn, v'dati katzara, and my mind is deficient. So like, it's interesting because like Hill is practicing this here in an extreme way. Like he's just being, I mean, it's not that the guy doesn't understand, but like he's being completely patient in answering his students' questions, you know? Yeah. Okay, next category. Gimel, Maisios Shi'iru Sheish Behen Toiles Bedeos. So we're going to some deos means ideas here, but we'll see. Is a proper, correct beliefs, convictions. Kamosha Amru b'Mishnah Tainios, like it says in Mishnah Tainios. Okay, I'm going to switch here. So you'll tell me if this is different. What does it start with? Maisish Amru. Maise Amru. Yeah. Okay. Maise Amru lo Lachonia Magal. Oh, Chonia Magal. You heard of him? Mm-hmm. The circle guy. An incident occurred in which the people said to Chonia Magal, "He's palal shiardu geshamin. Pray so that rain comes, so that rain falls." Amr lahem, he said to them, "Tzu v'hichnisu tnuri psachim bishvil shelo yemuku." Go out and bring in the clay ovens to roast the paschal lamb so that they do not dissolve in the water, as torrential rains are starting to fall, meaning he was very confident. He's palal v'lo yardu geshamim. Okay, he davened and no rain fell. Ma asa. Oh, so this is his where he gets the name from, right? Ma asa. What did he do? Ag uga. He drew a circle. V'amad b'socha, and he stood inside of it. V'amar lefanav, and he said before him, Ribono shel olam, banecha samu pneihem alai. Your children have turned their faces to me. She'ani keben bais lefanacha, because I'm like a member of your household. Nishba'ani b'shmecha hagadol. I swear in your name. She'eni zaz mikan ad she'teracham al banecha. That I won't move from here until you have mercy on your children. Bold move, man. Hischilu geshamim menatfim. So the rain started to fall. Amar, he said, Lo kach sha'alti. I didn't ask for this. Ela gishme boros shichin umaaros hischilu. Sorry, maaros. I asked for rain that would fill the cisterns, ditches, and caves. Hischilu leired bezaf. Then the rain began to fall furiously. Amar lo kach sha'alti. He said, I didn't ask for this. Ela gishme ratzon bracha and nadava. I wanted rain of favor and bracha and generosity. Yeah. Yardu ketiknan. The rain fell in their regular way. Ad shiyatzu Yisrael Yerushalayim lahar habayis, until the Jews went out of Yerushalayim into Har Habayis. Mipnei hagashamim, because of the rain. Ba'over amru lo kishem sheis palata aleim shiyardu kakis palata shiyelchu lahen. He said, just like you prayed over the rains that they should fall, so too you should pray that they should stop. Amrlam tz'uru im nimchis even hatoin. Okay, I got to read this here. He said to them, go out and see if the claimant's stone. Anyone familiar with this? Me neither.
He stopped over here.
Oh, okay. Go and see if the claimant's stone. Yeah.
I think that's for when they would do stones to be that there was like people would announce.
Oh, interesting. That's what it says here. A large stone located in the city upon which the proclamations would be posted with regards to lost and found articles has been washed away. In other words, the water has not obliterated the claimant's stone. It is not yet appropriate to pray for rain to cease. Yeah. Okay, fine. So it goes. I'll just read this last part. I'm not going to read the last part. Fine. Okay, fine. So, what do we see from me? Hine yesh.
He would not do what would like if he got 3 wishes from a genie.
Yeah, wasted them all there. He should have been specific. You can learn from here good emunah. So God answers the prayers of his servants, the tzaddikim. Torah, so like the Torah includes. Who is a great God, like our God, like Hashem our God, whenever we call to him. The Ne'amar Aide Navio, and it says by word of his Navi, Az Tikra V'Hashem Yaneh Teshua V'Yomer Hineni. Then you will call and Hashem will answer. Salvation, tishavea, I think. You will cry out and he will say, I am here. B'soch mash kilalta shekilalto tfilas Moshe. Yikra'ini ve'enehu. And this is what it was included in the tfilas Moshe. I will call out and he will answer me. Yeah, so this is an interesting example, right? Because it's not teaching you a new idea. It's like reinforcing the reality of an idea through an event, right? Like I mean, it's not a new idea. He just quoted the psukim for it, you know. So I mean, I'm just thinking of it here because like I think I would have been tempted when I'm not saying that it can't teach you a new idea, but he doesn't seem to be saying that's teaching you a new idea. Yeah.
Was he saying God answers tefillos of other but sleeping? God could answer any tefillah. Right,
but it sounds like this kind of answering though is
definitely answer.
Yeah, and like
that could be new.
That could be new, right? Like the extent to which he answers it. The fact that like it is interesting, right? Because like you don't see this in the Torah, right? You don't see like you see in the Torah of people davening and then God answering, but not God answering them saying the guy saying no, not like that, and God doing it no, not like that, you know? Yeah, that's interesting. One more here. V'kiyotze b'zeh b'talmud omrim b'gemara tinios, also in Gemara tinios. Was to start with Pam Achas. Okay, Pam. Pam Achas. This is a brisa. Talking about Pam Achas Alu Kol Yisrael L'Regel Yerushalayim. So once all the Jews went and ascended for the pilgrimage festival to Yerushalayim, V'lo hayalahem mayim lishtos. They didn't have water to drink. Halach Nakdimon ben Gurion. So Nakdimon ben Gurion, one of the wealthy citizens of Jerusalem, went Eitel Hegemon, to a certain hegemon, a certain officer. Echad Amar Lo, he said, Halaveni shtemesrei mayos mayim. Lend me 12 wells of water. I don't think of lending like that. For the Loli Regalim, for the pilgrims. And I'll give back to you 12 wells of water. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense. What would this mean? Lend me 12 wells of water for the pilgrims and I will give you back 12 wells of water. Isn't that how lending works? Yeah, fine. Okay.
I mean, this wouldn't be a loan then. This would kind of be a purchase.
Right. Yeah. The way Avraham has it, you mean? Yeah. V'im eni nosen lach, hari nosen lacha shtei misrei kikar kesef. Oh, interesting. And if I don't give them to you, I will give you 12 talents of silver. Okay. V'kava lozman, and the officer set a time limit for returning the water. I'm not getting it. Returning the water, like I guess giving him rain over it. I don't know. He's not giving back the water. All right. Kivin shehagias hazman. Once the time arrived, v'lo yardu geshamim, and no rain had fallen. B'shacharis, in the morning, shalach lo shagarli o mayim o maos. Send me either water or the coins, sheyeshli biadecha, that you owe me. Shalach lo, so Nakdimon sent a message to him. Adayin yeshli zman, I still have time. Kol hayom, the entire day. Because this is not Yerushalayim. Kuloshali, it's all mine. B'tzaraim shalach lo shagar li omayim oma. So then, at noontime, the officer sent a message: send me either water or coins that you owe me. Shlishi biyadacha lo. Adayin yeshli yeshus. I still have time. Biyom in the day. The mincha. Shalach lo shagar li o maim o maos sheyesh li be'adacha. Shalach lo adayin yesh li shahus biyom. Okay, fine, I get it. Ligleg alav osan hegamon. The officer ridiculed him. Amar, and he said, Kol hashana kula lo yerduk shamim. All year rain has not fallen. Is that where it ends? No. Okay. V'akshav yardu. Okay. New page. V'akshav yardu shamim. And now it'll rain. Nechnas lebeis hamerchatz b'simcha ad she'avadon nechnas b'simchaso lebeis hamerchatz So he entered the bathhouse in a state of joy, anticipating the large sum of money he was about to receive. As the master entered the bathhouse in his joy, Nakdimon entered the temple in a state of sadness. He wrapped himself in his prayer shawl and stood in prayer. Amar Lefanov, he said before him, Ribono shel olam, gali v'do lefnaka, shlo lechavodi asisi, v'lo lechavod beis abba asisi. Oh, that's a phrase that people say. Does it come from here? Have you heard people say this? When you're making, it's good to remember when you're making a dramatic proclamation. I did not act for my own honor. I did not act for the honor of my father's house. Ella lichvodecha. I only acted for your honor. Sisi.
Like a quote from Shlomo.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember where. I feel like I recall it.
Shiu mayim mitzuyim laole regalim. So the water would be plentiful for the pilgrims. Miyad niskashu shemayim ba'avim. So then immediately the heavens became thick with clouds. Yeah. V'yardu geshamim and rainfall. Ad shenismalu shtemes remayos mayim v'hosiro, until the 12 cisterns were filled and they overflowed. Ad shiata adon mi beis hamerchatz, when as the master left the bathhouse, Nakdimon ben Gurion yatsa mi beis hamikdash. Then Nakdimon was going out of the beis hamikdash. Kishapago zebezeh, when they met each other, amlo tainli dmei mayim yoser sheyesh li biada. Sorry, he said, give me the money you owe me for the extra water that you received. Mayim yoser sheyesh. Yeah, Amrlo, he said to him, Yodea ani shlo hiri ish HaKadosh Baruch Hu es olamo ala b'shvilach. So he said, I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has only shaken his world to cause rain to fall for you. Ella adayin yesh li piskon pel lacha, but I still have a claim against you. She'oti mimcha es ma'usai shekvar shaka achama ugshamim birshusi yardu. By which I can legally take my coins from you, because you didn't pay me on the agreed date, for the sun had already set, and therefore the rain fell into my property. This is a long story. Is it still going yours?
Yeah.
It's like 3 more lines.
Okay, fine. Chazer v'nichnas the beis hamikdash nisativ amad b'tefila. So Nakdimon went back and entered the temple and wrapped himself in a prayer shawl. And amad b'tefila and stood in tefillah. Amar lefanav Ribono shel olam hodea sheyesh lecha ahuvim ba'olamacha. Let it be known that you have beloved ones in your house, in your world. I mean, miyad nispazru ha'avim. Then the clouds scattered. V'zarcha hachama, and the sun shone. Ba'osasha amar lo ha'adon ilu lo Niktara hachama highly piskon pelacha she'oti mimcha ma'usi. The master said to him, if the sun had not broken through the clouds, I would have had a claim against you, by which I could have taken my claims from you. Tana, as the sage taught, lo Nakdimon shemo ella boni shemo. His name is not Nakdimon, but Buni. V'lam nikra shemo Nakdimon sheniktara chama ba'avuro. Why was he called Nakdimon? Because the sun broke through for him. All right. He didn't even explain it. All of that. Wow. Okay.
Meters.
Yeah, midos. Okay, so is this now the mysterious fourth category?
Yeah.
Amin harvi, ma'asir shenichtavu mipnei she'ira behem davar pele, a miracle. So this is its own category. A miracle happened. The inyan tema, and something astounding. The kamohu mash amr biyuma. This one's short.
Wait. Those weren't miracles that we just had?
Those were what?
Those were not miracles that we just had?
No, those were deos.
No, I know, but they seemed like.
They involved answering tefillah.
Yeah, the thing you guys like about ideas about tefillah.
Yeah, the point is to teach you that mi kadoshem elokim goy gadosh elokim korvim elav b'chol karenu elav.
Right, but I'm saying.
It makes me curious. Well, what are these other miracle things going to teach us?
What?
It makes me curious. What are the miracles going to teach us?
Yeah.
That are not in that category. You know, like I would have assumed that miracles is in the category of teaching us ideas that God changed his nature, that there's reward and punishment. Let's see what he says. Okay. V'kamu mash amar b'yuma, like it says in Yuma. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi ha-ka'azli b'urcha. So Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi were walking on the road. Rabbi Meir hava dayak bishma de Rabbi bishma. Rabbi Meir would analyze names, and then in parentheses here it says, and discern one's nature from his name. Fun pastime. It's like their road trip games. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, lo havu daiki. Daiki, okay. And they didn't do it. Bishma. Kimata lahu dukta, when they reached their place, ba'u ushpiza, so then they looked for an inn or lodging. Yahavu lahu, and they gave it to them. Amru lo, and they said to him, I guess to Rabbi Meir, ma shemecha, what is your name? So this is, they said to the innkeeper, what is your name? Amar lahu Kidor. Okay. Amar Shmamina. Ramir says, maybe you can learn from this. Adam Rashahu. Maybe he's Russia.
We don't have this.
Yeah.
There's a footnote. I think the whole thing's different.
Oh wow. Oh, quotes my version here.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. All right. Well,
Which called our version. So.
yeah. All right. So he says maybe he's a Rasha. Shnemar ki dor tahapuchos hema. Right? Because they are a duplicitous people generation. Ki dor. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Ashlimule. So Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi trusted their kisaihu, their wallets to him. Rabbi Meir lo ashlim le, and Rabbi Meir did not entrust his wallet to him. Kisei Amar Azal usvi be kivrei de avuha. He wanted to place it in the grave of the innkeeper's father. Okay. Itchazile bechelme. The innkeeper's father appeared to the innkeeper in a dream. Ta shakil kisa demanach aresha. Go take the purse of that man. Aresha dahahu gavra. Go take the purse placed at the head of that man, meaning innkeeper's father. Okay. Yeah, lamachar amar lahu. The next day, he said to the sages, Hachi itchazili b'chalmai. This is what I saw in my dream. Amri le, and they said to him, Chalma debe shimshi leis behu mamasha. Dreams during twilight have no substance. Meaning it doesn't matter. Also, Rabbi Meir v'natre kula yoma v'aisi. Even so, Rabbi Meir went and guarded his money all day and then took it. Lamachar amru lo. Next day, they said to him, Havlan kisan, give us our purses. Amruluhu, he said to them, Lo hayu dvarim me'olam. I never saw any purses. Okay. Amruluhu Rabbi Meir, Amailo daikisu bishma. Why didn't you be Medaik in his name? Amruleh, they said to him, Lo amarta lan mar. Why didn't the master tell us? Amruluhu Imar da Amri. I said it. Imar da Amri anachashasha. Achzuki mi Amri. I said you should be suspicious. Did I ever say that you should give him a chazaka as a Rasha? Mashchuhu v'ailuhu lechanusa. They dragged the innkeeper and brought him to a store. Chazu talfichi ashpame. Okay, I gotta just read the English here. They gave him wine to drink. After he drank the wine, they saw lentils on his mustache, showing that he'd eaten lentils that day. Azla v'yahavu simna ledevesu. They went and gave the sign to his wife. V'shakluhu lekisaihu. And they said that the innkeeper had ordered that their money be returned to them upon the sign that he ate lentils at the last meal. And he took their purses and went. He went and killed his wife? What? I guess he really was a Rasha. But this is not a miracle.
Maybe
I mean, unless you're gonna say some sort of like.
You see the title? I don't know who it is. But
the what?
The title for the.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Pella might not be miracle, just a weird case, right? Pella Vatema, an astonishing case. Yeah, I mean, but what are we supposed to learn from it though?
Nothing.
I am confused. He doesn't say, right? He doesn't. Oh, does he say? Yeah.
Oh no.
Hine Hamasa is it? Footnote 9.
Yeah.
Yitachin shakavana bazeh he shemaisios elu mibdehios and bilti shlichos. So it's possible that the intent in these incidents that are not, because they're not common, they're helpful for remembering the matter that they're tied to. They're in line with what preceded them. So therefore it seems like what we wrote. Well, I don't get it. Just have you remember the.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily teaching you anything. It's just to help you remember the thing that it was next to.
Yeah, it's like
Or doesn't it say to show that isn't he saying to show that the Chachmei Talmud are Chachamim?
That was the second reason, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think the first thing is to serve as like an anchor for your memory.
Yeah, it's like a misa that serves as a bookmark, right?
Yeah, it's
Right.
Like, oh, I remember the halakha that was like right around that crazy story about Kedar.
This is memory or just illustration?
Zikaron. Didn't he say Zikaron?
Yeah, but you still remember something about because you like a nice illustrated story.
Yeah, but like, what is it? I mean, I guess I'm just wondering, like.
Well, why don't we just look at what happened right before this? See if it connects.
Oh, taking him at his word. All right. The right before this.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna be anything specific. I think it's just gonna be like whatever halacha. Like whatever the Gemara is talking about.
I think it might be tied to it. Here, what was it?
Yuma Pei Gimel Amud Beis.
Yeah.
Right before it is another story. Right before that.
What was that story teaching you?
The Gemara relates to Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi were walking on the road, and Rabbi Yehuda was seized with bulmus. I always forget what bulmus is. I know it's a fun word though. So it's some sort of disease, symptom, convulsions. I don't know. He overpowered a nearby shepherd. That's imagery. And ate the bread that the shepherd had in his hand, since his life was in danger. Rabbi Yossi said to him. Rabbi Yossi said to him, all right, I'm going to remember this one forever. Rabbi Yossi said to him, you have robbed that shepherd. Good call. When they reached the city, Rabbi Yossi was seized with bulmos, and all the people in the city surrounded him with jugs and plates and all sorts of sweets. Rabbi Yehuda said to him in jest, I robbed only the shepherd, you robbed the entire city. I don't know why that's funny. It's just like, what's the point of that story? You know, it's funny because like, you see that old book, there's an old English book, I don't know when it was published. It's like one of these like early 1900s books called The Legends of the Talmud. It's like just it's basically like an Ein Yaakov. It's like a translations of like Midrashim. And I always was bothered by the title because like we don't relate to these things as legends. You know, I mean, like legends in the same way, like these are like instructive stories, which you could say legends are maybe, but like you see something like this and it sounds like, you know, I don't know, it's just, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know what I really want to do? I want to look at the same Mefarish who interpreted the Sasun and Simcha Gemara, the Shem Shmuel, who had a really good idea from that. See what he gets out of this, you know? Like, it's just not clear what the idea is. All right, the one before this was another Bulmos story.
What?
Maybe it was something.
I got another
like
Yuma.
One before that is about honey restoring your eyesight. So these are all like disease curing stuff. The one before that is about bulmos.
Or maybe what's after.
The one before that is about bulmos.
What's after the story? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. What's after it?
Because it doesn't seem associated to the shepherd thing.
Yeah. What was that line? Overpowered the shepherd. Oh, what? Okay, so right afterwards, Hainu Ditznan, Maim Rishonim. Yeah, right afterwards. So right after he killed his wife, Hainu Ditznan. This is as we learn in a brisa. Maim Rishonim, Achilu Basar Chazir. Maim Achronim Hargu Es Hanefesh. And the expanded English says, this is what we learn as we learn in a brisa. Due to a person's laxity in first washing, they fed him pork. There was an innkeeper who was accustomed to feed pork to Gentiles and kosher meat to Jews. He distinguished between Jews and Gentiles by watching to see whether they performed the ritual hand washing before eating. One time a Jew came and ate without washing his hands before the meal, and the innkeeper gave him pork to eat. Okay. Laxity in the final washing, the washing of one's hands and mouth after a meal, caused the innkeeper to kill the person. This is similar to the story, as the wicked innkeeper washed his mouth. The rabbis would not, had the innkeeper washed his mouth, the rabbis would not have known that he had eaten lentils. Mm-hmm. And then it says, and in the end too, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi would analyze names. When they came to a house of a landlord named Bala, they did not enter. They said, conclude from here that he is certainly wicked, as it says, Levala Neufim. I said of her who was worn out, Bala, by adulteries. As I stated, after I have grown old, shall I have pleasure? Worn out by adulteries, age through adulterers. And then it talks about a guy who got bit by a mad dog, and then it talks about how he was cured. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
So I mean, this
it
is
sounds like it's being used as like a way to encourage a person to be zahir about my rishon and my machron.
Yeah, I mean, it is explicitly saying that, right? I know it's not.
Yeah.
And it would serve that purpose, right? If the guy washed his mouth, he wouldn't have killed his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, still, it's a weird story.
I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah, right. It stands out. Yeah.
And this is literally just there to remind you of that thing.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is like a really difficult thing with the Garata of like, how do I know whether this crazy sounding Garata is just to remind me of the thing near it, or there's like a lesson or a mida? Like this is the difficulty.
Yeah, and I feel like certain stories are definitely going to come out to both sometimes.
Yeah,
like
it'll be crazy and didactic.
Right.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Any given thing.
Let's just finish this section here.
I'm gonna remember this story because of the overpower.
Yeah, right. That's true. Ukamohu Mash Amr b'Megillah. Okay, this is the last one. Yeah, the last one, Megillah. The Rabbi Yehuda.
Wait, is it Hine Hamas?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Lo nichtav ela l'hodiacha binas Rabbi Meir. So it's only to teach us the understanding of Rabbi Meir. V'hapela she'ira b'masha nisamsu divrei Rabbi Meir b'karas ishahu. And so to tell you the wonder that what Rabbi Meir thought about this guy came true, or that what he recognized about this guy came true. I mean, I don't understand that. How can you be medayik about a guy that he's a Rasha from his name? He didn't choose that name. Yeah. All right, fine. And I guess Rabbi Yehuda agrees with me. Rabbi Yehuda, or at least they did until the next story. Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya, this is in Umakmo Mash Amar B'Megillah. Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya, Shadar Leila Rabbi Ushia, Atma de Igla Tlasa, Vagarba de Chamra. So Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya, I think this is this is about Matanos Levionim. So Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya sent to Rabbi Ushia the leg of a third-born calf and a jug of wine. Okay. This is the Gemara is about Matanos Levionim. Rav Oshia, Shalach Le, Rav Oshia sent him a message of gratitude. Kiyamta banu Rabbeinu umishloch manos ish l're'ehu umatanos levionim. So it says, you fulfilled through us, our teacher, two mitzvos, mishloch manos ish l're'ehu and matanos levionim, because it says Rav Oshia was poor, and this was a good gift.
His grace only has matanos levionim.
Interesting. All right, is that the end of it?
No.
Rava Shadar Le Lamari Bar Mar Biadabaye Mali Taska de Kashva. So Rava sent to Mari Bar Mar in the hands of Abaye a sack of dates, umale kasa kimcha, and a cup full of roasted flour. Kimcha of shuna, roasted flour.
I think we have a totally different.
Yeah.
Just different people.
Okay.
It's the same characters.
It is,
Sending you a gift back.
Hadar Shalach Le Kule the Agla Tlasa, the classic garbage, the Chamra. So the Shalach Le Kam Tabanu Rabinu Umishalach Menos Israel. That's it.
Oh, that's it?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Oh, but it has the other gears at the bottom also.
Fine. All right. Let's just see what he says about it. So what's crazy about that? Umaisius
I don't think it's crazy. I think it's just that it's not halachic, except that it sounds halachic.
Well, I mean, I said crazy because I'm assuming that this is because of a pella, right? Like, I guess this is like crazy, like sending a third of a cow or whatever, or a 3-year cow. It's like a huge gift. So it's like an excessive thing, and a jug of wine.
I guess.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. I mean, yeah.
Also, he sent back a whole calf.
There's a lot of stories like this. Of Gemara, Gittin, Timsam Mehen Larov. You'll find most of them in Gittin. And also in other places in the Talmud. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that's where they have all the Tishbav Gemaras, right? The Kamsa Bar Kamsa. Of Efshar ki behischalik deos hamafarshim bebir maisus elu yitachen shimsa behem toelas acheros. Okay, it's possible that there's a different opinion of the commentators in explaining these incidents, that they'll find in them other purposes, other benefits. There you go. Right? That you'll find the three benefits in one of the three ways we mentioned before. But it really is a different category. I got to think about this one. I mean, like,
it sounds like you're saying they intrinsically don't have any benefit.
Yeah. But like even Lahudiyach Binas Rebbe Meir, I mean, is that not a Mida?
Yeah.
Sounds like a Mida to me. It's an intellectual Mida, but it's a Mida.
Well, it's not telling us. It's, just saying, it's not saying like what we should do better in ourselves. It's not telling us how to improve. It's saying like, he was smart.
Right. It's like biographical.
It's really discerning. It's not teaching us a Mida.
Right.
It's saying he had a certain Mida.
Right. See, but I would say that about this thing with Rabbi Yehuda, I mean, either it's teaching us halacha that, according to our gear, so you can fulfill Mishlach Manos and Matanos Levionim 2 in 1 if the guy's poor and this is a generous thing, or it's teaching us his generosity. You know, like he gave him this really like expensive gift.
Yeah.
So why is Avraham insisting that this is a fourth category? And like
this one seems like it seems to me like a very poor choice because it sounds very halachic, you know.
Yeah. All right, let's think about that for next time. That was okay. That was quite a thing. So we got 3 more categories. And I don't even know how many subdivisions we have here. All right. Oh wow, I didn't realize how what's going on here. This ends soon.
And just all footnotes. It's like half a book left.
I know. That's what I'm shocked about.
Another book in back, isn't it?
I guess. Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah. I just saw this now for the first time.
Oh, really? So,
Yeah. It ends at Saudi Bays. Ma'atike Hashmua. Birum betodos chachmei Talmud v'iyunim b'darchei ha'takas shmua osehem. Wow.
yeah, is that?
I don't even know what this is.
Just,
I assume this is another book. I don't think this is.
yes, it sounds.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Fine. All right. So I guess we're almost done with this then. Maybe finish it next time or the time after that. Okay. Oh yeah. It ends right after this. Right after the Maisim.
What's that other book?
I don't know. I'll have to look at it over Shabbos and see. Oh, by the way, just for advertising, so I tell you that I got the this guy's edition of R Avraham on Bereshis.
No.
Oh, so it's good. I don't know if the one on Shemos is out yet. So not only is it the same quality of like all the footnotes and stuff, but the best thing is in the back. He has like must see Avraham ben Ramams on each parsha. By index.
I think pamphlets like that for Rambam.
Oh yeah, that'd be very useful for Ramban. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know, the storm guy in my yeshiva just would like bring them. They're like 5 shekels. They're like these like little pamphlets.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can find them online. Yeah. All right. Stop here. See you, Zeph. Yeah.
By the way, Rabbi Feder made reference to the stove Jew during shiur.